there. If we haven't met already, my name's Colleen and you're so welcome. I'm glad you can enjoy my videos with me, and I hope that you will learn something that you find useful and that you'll be inspired. And I'm looking forward to getting to know you, so please consider subscribing to my channel and also give me a thumbs up if you like this video at the end of it. What I have with me today are a number of different card making materials that aren't always easy to work with. And let me just start by explaining to you what I've been doing. I had some serviettes which were pretty crumpled, to say the least, and I was thinking about what I could do with them to be able to use them. So I cut them out and I stuck them on a piece of white card, which is just white, normal plain white card, doesn't have to be terribly thick. And I ran it with an embossing plate through my machine, and it's given it a nice textured background, so I was happy with that. Then I chose a background color, and I didn't have a color in the card I wanted, so I found this paint swatch. Cool, nifty idea if you actually don't have a lot of materials, and I just cut that down to size. I have already prepared my serviette or my napkin, and it has this double-sided tape to stick it down onto my paint swatch. And so you just use a little craft knife, or if you've got very long fingernails, that will also work, just to pull it up. If it doesn't come up easily, it's usually because you haven't stuck the corners down well, so that will be the first thing to do. So what I'm going to do now is just simply position this in my card so that I've actually got that centered, and I want it slightly down, like so. Then the next thing that I have is a piece of vellum which I've embossed, just using a little spotted design. Now I've cut my card out so that it fits more or less within the sort of line of these little dots. And as many of you know, when you're working with vellum, it's really hard to know how to glue it down, because you're going to find that the glue often shows through. So the first thing I'd like to do here is to be able to just stick my base, which has got my napkin design, onto the vellum, and then we will discuss how we're going to actually stick down this vellum with all its problematic fixes. You just have to give it a little bit of thought. There normally is a solution, but just has to be a little bit considered, much more so than when you're making any other kind of card. So to begin with, I'm just moving that aside. I'm going to take my little design that I've already started, position it so that I've got a row of spotty dots all the way around. Right, this also gives it a little bit of dimension because the dots are slightly raised. Now what to do? I think because I've actually got this paint swatch at the back, I'm just going to take two nice chunks of this double-sided tape, and I'm going to just pop that onto the back of my card. Seem to have, don't know what I've done with my scissors, but anyway, I'll just use my craft knife. And I'm going to stick one here. This will be on the back of a piece of card, so it's not actually going to show through, but I've actually put enough of it on to be able to make sure that it's nice and secure. Right. So now I'm going to stick this down onto this silky kind of paper. I don't know if you can see that so well. It's got fibers in it. Now this paper has a slightly fluffy kind of texture, and I must be honest, a lot of glues and things don't like it. So you've got to, again, consider what you're going to use to stick things down. And because I've got a nice long wide strip of this double-sided tape on the back of this piece of card, I know for sure that this is going to stick down. Right, so we're going to stick this down on here. Also just spacing it towards the bottom, and you'll see why in a minute. Now the next challenge is this fluffy piece of card. And I'm going to use this in a portrait way where it's upright like this. And so for this particular purpose, I'm going to use a glue stick. And we don't often use glue sticks when we're doing card making, because we tend to prefer non-messy things like double-sided tape. But because this is so fluffy, I just find that the double-sided tape tends to peel right up as the backing tape comes off, and that's not going to do any good here. So I've put on a fairly generous amount of my glue stick, and I'm going to turn this over and just position that in place. Rub down the edges nicely with my fingers. or if you have a bone folder, you could be using that. And then I have a sentiment here which says happy birthday, and again I've put double-sided tape onto the back of that, and I'm now going to stick that down. This has got quite long strips of double-sided tape, so although I'm going to stick this onto the silk paper, I know that I should be using the Pritt glue, but it doesn't stick to the backing of the sentiment because it's a kind of a sticker base. So there lies another problem. So I'm going to position this at the top with the double-sided tape and just wrap that down. And then the last thing that I'm going to add into this is my little bow. And that I'm just going to use some fabric glue just to stick that down, like so. And I've got a glue here with a nice nozzle, so I'm just going to make a little bead of this. Oh my goodness. Funny when you have everything prepared and you test it and then suddenly it doesn't want to work. Anyway, there's my little bead of glue, and I'm just going to press the knot of the little ribbon and the bow into that and just leave that. I'd have to leave that to set for a couple of hours, but there's a very nice little card made with some tricky materials. So we've used Pritt glue stick or any kind of glue stick for the soft silky paper. We've used double-sided tape behind the card for the vellum, and then we've used double-sided tape for the others. Very happy with that little one. It would be a lovely addition to a present. So leave your comments below, or if you have any ideas that you would like me to make videos on, you're welcome to actually put those at the bottom, because I have taught a lot of different crafts over the years. But thank you so much for joining me. I really appreciate you spending time with me. Bye for now.